In this lecture, we are going to see about decision making, how a decision making process should be, decision making and forward planning. Decision making. Managers are constantly called upon to make decisions in order to solve business problems. In business, every day a manager has to face n number of problems, that too different problems. Decision making and problem solving are ongoing process of evaluating situations or problems, considering alternatives, making choice and following them up with necessary actions. Decision making is commitment to something and a principle or course of action. It is selecting the best among the alternative course of action. So such decisions should be taken in a very effective manner in order to arrive at appropriate solutions. Managerial economics will give you a 7-step procedure on how to take a decision. Step 1. Identify the problem. Step 2. Identify the limiting factors. Step 3. Developing potential alternatives. Step 4. Analyzing the alternatives. Step 5. Select the best alternatives. Step 6. Implement of the decision. 7. Establish a control. Let us in detail see what each step a managerial economist has to take. Step 1. Define the problem. A well-defined problem is half solved. So it is the duty of the managerial economist to identify the problem and to define the exact problem. The accuracy of the real problem plays a crucial role in problem solving. So as a step 1, managerial economist has to identify the problem and analyze the accurate real problem of the business issue. Number 2, identify the limiting factors. Limiting factors will have a major impact in identifying the appropriate solution for a business problem. So it is the duty of the managerial economist to identify the symptoms and to address the symptoms and also to explore the factors that uncovers the symptoms of the problem. So as a process of taking decision, once after identifying the problem, a managerial economist has to identify the limiting factors, the symptoms and the factors to uncover the symptoms of the problem. Next, developing potential alternatives. After identifying the correct problem and identifying the limitation factors, it is the duty of the managerial economist to build alternative solutions for the given problem. It is advised in the economics that to go with alternative solutions for one single problem. There are techniques used to identify alternative solutions. One of the most famous technique used is brainstorming. Brainstorming is experts of the field are gathered together and they have to discuss the accurate problem of the business. Then each expert may give their own views and ideas on how to solve the existing problem. After doing brainstorming, we can come up with alternatives of business decision. So the brainstorming session gives you various plan of action to solve the existing business problem. After analyzing the potential alternatives, the next step in decision making process is Analyzing the alternatives obtained from the brainstorming session. All the alternatives derived in the brainstorming session or any other session has to be analyzed individually. Each alternative has to be analyzed, identifying their pros and cons of each, and a cost benefit analysis has to be done for each alternative. Suppose if for a problem there are three courses of action, plan A, plan B, plan C. It is the duty of the managerial economist to identify pros and cons of plan A, pros and cons of plan B, pros and cons of plan C. Then he has to analyze even the cost benefit analysis of each plan, that is for plan A, plan B and plan C. At this step, he will have a clear understanding of what is the problem, what are the limiting factors of the problem, what are all the various alternatives available to the problem. Next, he will analyze each alternative identified in terms of pros and cons and cost benefit analysis. Next thing is select the best alternative. After analyzing the pros and cons of each alternative which came up in the identification process, the alternative which has large number of advantages and least disadvantages has to be chosen. We call that as a best alternative. In other words, a best alternative has to give you more of advantages and less of disadvantages. By seeing this, a managerial economist can arrive on a best alternative. It may be plan A, plan B or plan C. Whichever is less disadvantage and more of advantage, we can select that as an alternative. After selecting the alternative, it is the duty of the managerial economist to implement the decision. Implement the decision with more advantage will result in high probability of success, that is high probability of problem solving. So implementation of decision is the crucial and important point in decision making process. A decision making process will not stop at this point. Implementation, people will think that implementation of decision is the final stage, wherein managerial economics says that even after the implementation of decision, there is a role for a managerial economist which is given in the last step, that is establish a control. A mere implementation of decision will not give you a high probability. It may even go further. An evaluation system should be in place to check that the selected decision or selected alternative is giving you the same result in as discussed in the analyzing part. That is, you have to monitor your decision implementation, and an evaluation system should be in place in order to continually monitor the implementation of decision. Decision making and forward planning. Decision making and forward planning. So a mere decision making and implementation and establish is the not a process for a managerial economist. It is furthermore, as according to managerial economics. Managerial economics says that a decision making followed by forward planning will help you to be succeed in a long run. Decision making and forward planning go hand in hand with each other. Forward planning means establishing plans for the future to carry out the decision so taken. Forward planning and decision making thus go on at the same time. Manager prepares the best possible plans for the future depending upon the past experience. A business manager's task is to make difficult by the uncertainty which surrounds business decision making. So, it is the duty of a managerial economist to have a proper decision making process and to arrive at a high probability success decision, and also to implement or to take this to forward for your future business practices, because business is not of a short term, it is of a long term objective. In order to have your business in long term in a more successful manner, decisions should be taken towards forward planning.